Hey guys, as I've said it, I've cut the video in two. You're gonna see a costume change in the middle of the video, sorry about it. I ran out of memory. But here is my second part of the month of April. But the Argonauts, well, I don't really have much to say about it. The Argonauts is about a memoir from Maggie Nelson and her life with Harry Dodge. So Harry was born a female, started taking testosterone, and then did a double mastectomy, but never really subscribes, from what I understood, to this gender notion we have. So he, she sexes is not really about it. So these memoirs, they read much like an essay. They will discuss the notions of family, of trusts, of sex, gender, of having children, the decision of having children, abortion, the lives of male and female, women's right, pregnancy, labor, child, how to take care of a child, and all the philosophy it has. And all the while it brings ideas and philosophies of these authors that Maggie Nelson uses in her text. And not only she quotes them, but it's actually in the middle of her speech in italics, so you can tell the authorship. So although this book is an statement, it is very well constructed and it has very direct, very well based ideas. It's also for me about the opening up to discussing them, because it was so well written, it was so well researched, that for me it left space for discussion when I wanted to discuss something in my head, or when I wanted to think about something, when I wanted to challenge something she believed. I could, because it seems like I was having a conversation with a very intelligent person who has very other authors to back her up. So that's why it's also, although it's a very short book, it's also a book that takes a long time to read and a long time to process. So she also seems very intelligent to me, because the way she writes is very concise, very dense. It reminded me a lot of Susan Sontag, the way she writes, because of how much she has to say in so little space. So one phrase, one paragraph, you have to spend a lot of time and figure out everything that she's saying. She will say and convey these experiences she has and had in life, raising her children with Harry, and how that changed her life, and how it changed how others see her, and how she has to battle everyday life with many people about it. It's a great read, and as any reviewer might have told you, the Argonauts refers to the Argo and the crew that were the Argonauts. It was a ship from Greek mythology. If I'm not mistaken, its captain was Jason, and they were seeking the Golden Fleece. And how she puts it is that no matter how much you change on the outside, how many times the carcass is scraped or hinged, or it changes, the insides, the people you'll have, and the boat, the Argo, is not only your body, it can be your relationships, the connections you make with people, how it actually doesn't change, what's inside doesn't change, and how we are always traveling and seeking our ports or our homes and each other. That's the meaning of the book, and how she constantly uses this notion of the Argonauts. So then to a novel I absolutely adored. It's gonna be one of my favorites from the year and from my life, I'm very sure. That's The Parcel by Anosh Irani, and that has also this very beautiful cover and flange fraps. So in The Parcel we talk about Madhu. Madhu is a hijra in India And hijra is a word used to describe transsexuals in this case. These transsexuals, they have mutilated genitals, no, let's say no surgical work done, no professional work done. And it's an interesting relation because hijras, they are tied to Hindu mythology, so in a sense they are revered to bring good luck at births and weddings, but at the same time they are rejected and scorned by society as a whole because they are transsexuals and because they reject the male-female norm. So Madhu is a hijra that's working as a beggar on traffic. In India, as in other many countries, the work that is left for them to do is either begging or also in their case they attend weddings and childbirths or sex work. And Madhu is over 40. She worked all her life as a sex worker, but now she's not able anymore and she has to work begging. So Madhu lives with her sisters in a hijra house that is also where they work as sex workers, and that's on the Kamantipura district, that is basically the largest red light district in India. So Madhu in the story, she will be recruited by a very powerful woman that's owner of a brothel to resume a trade that she had quit before. That is the breaking of a parcel, the parcel of the title. A parcel in this case is a very young virgin girl, 10 years old is on the book. She was sold, every parcel is sold by their family to these people to do sex work, it's a sex trade, to be obligated on those brothels to sell her body. In Madhu, she has the task of breaking that parcel. That is introducing her to her new life, trying to make her forget all notions of hope and all hopes of getting out of that life one day. Madhu has to make that girl understand that her life now is that she was sold, that she was forsaken by her family, and that her life now will be working for the brothel, and that she can never escape that situation, she can never escape the brothel, and she should never try. She does that because before that, the most common way to break a parcel was through torture and abuse and rape, systematic rape. That's why she started long years ago to break the parcels herself, and she does that mentally, but it's a very cruel way nonetheless, because she has to make that the girl that is she doesn't know what's happening, she has to face that situation, and she has to break her, make her understand, and psychologically break her that way. So the novel will follow that, will follow Madhu being reminiscent of her life, looking what she's doing, and remembering her life, remembering her family, and longing for a closer connection, and longing for love, and herself longing for the hope that she doesn't have anymore. The one fault we'll put to the book actually is that it feels a lot like he's trying to make a foreigner cry. You know how the plot goes and how she reminisces some of her life. It is all very designed to make you feel that and to break you inside. But the thing is, it actually works. I've never cried with a novel. I didn't actually cry or bawled over the novel, but it brought me to the edge of tears, definitely. So the book is really heart-ripping, not only because I could care about the characters. Anosh Irani, he makes really good characters, very believable characters that I could admire for all they did to survive and make it through, and how he delves in that culture and how he brings you with it. But because you cannot also put a mirror, I could at least put a mirror to it and see my own life in parts reflected, or ways of thinking, or things I went through. Nothing obviously like the parcel goes through or how Madhu actually goes through, but about dejection or rejection and sexuality. So accompanying this inner change that Madhu is feeling, having to do again this trade of breaking the parcel, also the city changes around her, because her house where she lives with her sisters and Gurami, that's the house chief, there's greedy developers trying to buy it from them, but they don't want to because they see what happens to other poor people in other poor houses that were bought, and how the situation got very, very worse for these people living there, how they went from having a very meager earnings to have none at all. So Madhu has a very gripping personality. All aspects of her life are being challenged, and this puts her in a very unique position to reevaluate and relive everything she has come through, because how different she is, how challenged she is because of the way she thinks, the way she feels, the way she is and chooses to be. So the author was successful in creating and demonstrating, go inside the mind of a character as an outsider such as Madhu. Mainly the examinations that goes inside her head, the traumas and she has to live, and the choices she comes to make. So it's a very emotional and very personal book, a very personal read for me. It shows just there's some things in our life sometimes that we have to push to the back of our minds just to be able to live daily. And what this book does, it forces you to look at those things. It forces you to analyze and think about things you don't want to think about always. Forces you to look and be in the skin of otherwise invisible people. It's that kind of book. So, but it is a challenge because you think about all that, you keep reading the book, thinking about all that, but then you close the book and it's gone already. And what do? You just, okay, I read the book, I recommend the book, and what do I do to challenge and to change this kind of reality that exists not only in India but exists here in Brazil? And if I can recommend just one book this year, I think it will probably be The Parcel. Also, I did get to read With Love, Simon, that I think has another name. It's Simon versus the Homo sapien agenda. It is quite a popular book right now. I still haven't seen the movie. Well, it is an YA. I'm not very into YAs. I never am, despite being an LGBT story. But it's kind of fun. It's kind of quirky. Again, it has characters that don't really go anywhere. Sometimes they just vanish. The plots and storylines, they don't really have many ramifications. They don't really go anywhere. It's just the main story of the boy who's in love, and he will find a little boyfriend. What I will say about it is that it's nice to be able to have a book like this that is not only, let's say, about the struggles about coming out. It's not only about the struggles about being gay. It's also about the funny part, the gooey bits, the good things, the heartwarming things. I think it's becoming more common, happily. This kind of story, it's actually becoming more common for youth. But it is a silly book. I just read it in 2 or 3 sittings. It comes and goes really quickly. It's just a cute little book, but there's nothing really much about it. So guys, thank you. If you read any of these books, please tell me, because I do these videos and the only thing I wish I could do more is talk more about books and talk more about reads. And maybe I will do a TBR for my, I won't say the month of May because I am halfway through May already. And this TBR for April actually started on the April 6th and finished on the May 10th. So I just call it TBR for my next project, and I will do a little video about it. Thank you for watching so far. Thank you for watching the two parts. And I see you guys later.